Hey UNA USA family, I'm Jarrett James Lash, and I've had the honor of serving as the 14th UNA USA Youth Observer to the United Nations for this past year. And I'm so thrilled because I'm sitting here with the 15th UNA USA Youth Observer to the United Nations. Sophia Alicea, it is such a pleasure for us all to get to know you a little bit better today. So I first want to ask, what inspired you to become more involved in global affairs and youth leadership?
Well, first, thank you for the introduction, and it's so amazing to be here as well and to be meeting you. What first inspired me was when I first joined Model United Nations back when I was in high school, which is about like 5.5 years ago now. And I remember my first ever committee. I had no idea what I was doing. And it was during COVID precautions. So I was alone in my bedroom, and I was growing in a first generation household where no one knew what Model UN was. None of my brothers engaged with it. So I had no idea what to expect. All I knew was that I was in the Human Rights Council, whatever that was at the time. And I was with a group of other teenagers in their bedrooms trying to figure out how to solve the world's most pressing foreign policy questions. But it was that specific environment of working with peers that really inspired me. And I left that first conference thinking, wait, we could actually change the world if we think about it. In 6 hours, we created a multiple-page document addressing some of the hardest issues that our generation is facing. So if we could do that in 6 hours, what could we do with a larger coalition? So yeah, I went on then to go and compete with the USA team, both nationally and internationally. And again, it was that same spirit of like-minded individuals and peers, whether or not we agreed on certain topics, being able to envision and share a collective vision for a new future and a better world that really has continued to inspire me today.
You're going to meet so many students who do Model UN throughout this year. You're going to go to so many different Model UN conferences. They're going to love that story.
I'm excited.
Absolutely.
Okay, Jarrett, I want to ask you about your time as the 14th Youth Observer. Looking back at your incredible year that you've had, what is one moment or event that you really look back on that you're really proud of?
Well, there are so many incredible moments throughout the incredible year, and it's going to move fast, I promise you. As much as it seems like there's a whole year ahead, time's going to fly, so hold on to every moment. The way that the year starts for the Youth Observers through a national listening tour. And the purpose is so that when you're going to do different consultations at the United Nations, when you're speaking to members of Congress, when you're speaking to United Nations leaders, you're never saying, I think this. You're saying, this is what young Americans told me about what they're experiencing, and this is why you need to hear it, to channel that energy, channel their voices. And I had the opportunity to spend a number of days in the great state of Iowa. And during my time there, it was incredibly impressionable for a number of reasons, but one moment really stood out. When I arrived to Iowa, just hours before the United States conflict in Iran had broken out. And early in that conflict, a student at one of the universities that I would be speaking at during that time was an active student at Drake University. He was also serving in the Iowa National Guard, and he was killed in action. And so the campus was reeling from this tragic loss, this global conflict that created a loss within their local community. And when I arrived on campus to talk about the role of the United Nations, what a peace and security mission looks like to the institution, it wasn't this conceptual conversation that we were having. It was completely real for them in that moment. So hearing their reflections during that listening tour stop, hearing what they were thinking about in that moment, both in grieving a friend and community member, but also the broader context within the globe, what it meant to seek peace on the world stage so that that would not happen in the future, made for a powerful lesson for me. And I think that's exactly the purpose of this role, to be able to go back to the halls of power and communicate what young Americans are saying as they experience these situations real time. For that brief moment, all the way in the Middle East to Iowa, those two places felt very close together. And it was my role and responsibility to carry that story, to tell that story in the places that I went. And I hope that I was able to do that in some of the subsequent conversations, whether it was on Capitol Hill or with United Nations staff.
Wow, that is powerful.
And Sophia, as we're celebrating International Day of the Youth, I'm really curious what you're thinking about in terms of what meaningful youth engagement hopes to look like during your term as a youth observer.
Yeah, my answer to this is quite simple. During my tenure as the youth observer, I simply just want to see hope in the youth engagement, whether it's at the United Nations or in a UNA USA chapter. If there is no hope, then there can be no change. And I don't just mean hope in them believing in their future, but believing that they are the sole driver in changing their future and shaping that future. I just hope that they are confident in their perspectives, confident in their decision making, confident in their ability to speak with constituents or stakeholders, or even just be bold enough to ask a question that challenges the community that they're in. So throughout my incoming year as youth observer, I just hope that if just a few students feel more like they believe that they can actually drive change in the future, and if just a couple more students feel that they are the change of this next generation, then I would have considered it a successful term.
I completely agree. I hope will be a key driver during your term.